Football Prodigy's Revenge, Band Teen to World Cup Hero. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 21. Chu Feng opened twice, and the hammer helped the fans lose their voices. Summer Kingdom. The fans watching the ball. Lying grass, Marseille whirling, handsome. Although he couldn't understand it, when Chu Feng turned around, his hair flew. It's really handsome. Finally equalizing, I knew Chu Feng would definitely score. Brothers, I just came back from the extranet and I clicked the keys to come. The foreign fans stopped beating the flag, all of them did not dare to speak, and they broke Chu Feng cattle. There is also a famous retired player Li of Xiagua who is participating in the live football program. What is this Marseille whirling? This Nyama is called Bumbu whirling. I don't understand the ball. Bumbu boomerang is equal to 2 Marseille whirlwinds superimposed. I taught Chu Feng. I did not expect that Chu Feng could actually use the stunt of the master in the Premier League. I was very touched and very pleased. As a retired player, he is not afraid of the Football Association and dares to rub the heat of Chu Feng. Chu Feng celebrated on the court. Back to when he signed with Leicester City. After signing Leicester City, Chu Feng's system amount has exceeded 10 million. Chu Feng immediately opened the system interface. The draw feature was selected. Draw cost, 10 million euros. Yes/no. Decisively choose yes. Look at the prizes rolling in the system. Full moon curved knife, Beckham. Cruyff turned. Elevator ball, Ronaldo C. Gold ability point 2. There are masters of stunts, skills, and shooting skills. There are also ability points that can directly strengthen their ability points. As the scrolling speed gets slower. Finally stopped at, Marseille boomerang, Zidane. Marseille boomerang? Does this also count as a prize? Chu Feng seen that with his current ability value, after a little training, he could also use the Marseille roundabout. The value of this prize was too low for him. The extracted star stunt does not require training, and the proficiency is directly equal to the original proficiency of the star. The system gives an explanation. Chu Feng tried several times at the training ground, and indeed felt handy, thinking that it would have been the same, and there was no place for smooth movements. Now after actual combat use on the pitch, Chu Feng realized that Zidane's famous stunt of midfield master was really useful. London Olympic Stadium. The game time came to 73 minutes. There are only 20 minutes left before the end of the race. West Ham United conceded the ball and the overall formation moved back. Prevents too many gaps. Their penetration in the middle of the road also began to become more careful, as if they had chosen to accept the score now. The game was in a state of anxiety. The battle between the two sides is still the same score. 1-1 flat. Compared to West Ham United's possession defense, except the score. Leicester City's players have yet to give up their chance to overtake the scoreline. Although the previous attempts were blocked. But now, Leicester City striker Mahrez controlled the ball. After observing the situation on the field, without hesitation, he directly found Chu Feng, who was inserted in front of the side road with a long pass. Faced with a dense defense in front of West Ham, he wanted to do so by splitting the ball into the flanks. Teammates on the flanks opened the game. Chu Feng's starting speed was still so terrifying. Then Mahrez controlled the ball to observe his teammates standing. Chu Feng had already started to run forward. The sudden acceleration made Sharot beside him unresponsive. Didn't keep up in time. Let Chu Feng walk towards the penalty area with the ball again. Faced Jenkinson, who was finally in the way. Chu Feng used the speed of the change rhythm to break through. Facing Chu Feng, who was about to go straight into the forbidden area. Jenkinson, helpless. The shovel could only be put from the rear of Chu Feng's side. Chu Feng was shoveled down outside the penalty area. The referee on duty, Anthony Taylor, showed him a yellow card directly. Leicester City scored a free kick on the edge of the penalty area. This free kick is already within range. Chu Feng did not push back. Already standing behind a free kick. West Ham United's human wall was already standing. The referee whistles. Chu Feng did not hesitate. Shoot directly at the middle of the ball with your feet. The ball that is shot is more powerful. The soccer ball flew along the ground and quickly towards the human wall. Footballs pass through high-jumping human walls. The goalkeeper fell to the ground. Football goes straight into the net. The ball was scored. Leicester City scored a deficit. Came 2-1. Chu Feng once again made a contribution to Leicester City. Kicked in a free kick of his own creation. Finished the 2-degree. Chu Feng and the players all rushed to the corner. hug, celebrate. Home fans throughout London's Olympic Stadium. Some hold their heads with both hands. Some cover their mouths. All lost sound. All that remained was the shouts of Leicester City's fans who went out with the team. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. Episode 22. London Olympic Stadium. Chu Feng completed the second degree. Morale in Leicester City was boosted. In order to guarantee victory, Leicester City began to choose defense. The rest of the time West Ham United did not stop attacking, though. However, in order to prevent Chu Feng from breaking through the defensive line again, the attack fought with trepidation. In the end, it can only eat the bitter fruit of the home defeat. After the match, the reporter interviewed Ranieri. "May I ask Coach Ranieri, do you have anything to say about West Ham's state today? Is there anything Chu Feng wants to say about this performance?" Ranieri smiled and said, "West Ham played very well and took the lead very early, but we have Chu Feng, he is completely a world-class star." Another reporter asked. "Coach Ranieri, you said in the pre-match meeting that this year's task is to relegate, and after winning this victory, did your goal change?" Ranieri shook his head and said, "I repeat, my task is to save the team from relegation. I think if we can get 40 points, we can reach this relegation goal," he said. There was also a reporter who asked Chu Feng's opinion on West Ham United and his opinion on today's game. "West Ham is a very challenging team and I am very happy with my performance today." Reporters on Leicester City Mahrez, Valdi, and other remaining players had to see today's game. Chu Feng's teammates were all Chu Feng's performance of praise overflowing with words. The interview ends. Chu Feng received the competition reward in the locker room again. System achievement, the 5 major leagues, completed the second degree. Completed. Achievement bonus, stamina potion, as long as you don't die, kick to death. Win the Premier League game. Rating, 10 points. Contest prize, €400,000. Stamina potion? In the future, if you want to fight on multiple fronts, you can use it. After cleaning in the locker room, the players are ready to take the bus again and return to Leicester. When leaving London Olympic Stadium, Leicester City, who had already played outside the stadium, shouted wildly with the fans who had gone out with the team. "Sing the Leicester City team song aloud." It expressed the joy of victory and the love for Chu Feng. Some of them ran and sang, chasing the long-distance bus. Chu Feng sat in the big bar. The singing is getting smaller and smaller. John's Kingdom at 8 o'clock in the evening. Leicester City's player bus has sailed into Leicester City. Leicester citizens on the street shouted at the bus. From the noisy shouting can be heard clearly. Sung with melody. "Long live, Chu Feng! Long live, Chu Feng! Our prince!" Obviously, there is no parade. Until the fans still followed the bus. Even if some Leicesters didn't follow the bus. But when the bus passes them, they still stop. Greetings to the bus. The whole city of Leicester celebrated the victory. Originally relegated as a target for them. The league started in 2 rounds, ushering in 2 consecutive victories. It seems that we can really start to imagine a European war. The stage they never came back to. Busney. Vardy and Mahrez said to Chu Feng, "Tell the fans something, Chu Feng." Chu Feng looked at the fans outside the window, and for a while his mood was also a bit mixed. Chu Feng opened the window. "Say thank you loudly to the fans." Finally shouted loudly. "Long live Leicester City." Watching Chu Feng's appearance, the fans loudly expressed their joy. "Chu Feng, your goal today was too handsome. Chu Feng, don't care what others say, you will always be our prince." It's only been 2 games. Chu Feng owned the entire city of Leicester. On the streets of Leicester, Lindsay Xuan, a freshman at Leicester University, and several female students who studied in Xiaogua. I was watching the Leicester City team bus slowly pass by. Listen to the fanatical shouts of the Leicester City fans around you. I can't believe that Chu Feng, as a Xiaogua person, can be sought after by so many Leicester people. We don't watch the ball, we certainly don't understand other people's feelings. You said we went to find Chu Feng for a group photo. How many fans will be added to the Weibo? Will Chu Feng take a picture with us? As the flower of Leicester University, we can be regarded as a silver plate with a face like a silver plate, eyes like water apricots, lips that are not dotted but red, and eyebrows that are not painted but green. Lindsay Xuan, who originally listened to the small talk of several girls. I heard the conversation about myself. The face is slightly red. In the face of the praise of friends, he was speechless for a while. She had never watched a ball before. Suddenly, It's only a few days before I see Chu Feng play football. After several girls listened, they originally just teased Lin Zixuan and made fun of them. Lin Zixuan, you shouldn't be upset. The red halo on Lin Zixuan's original pretty face spread to the root of the ear. I ran to school as if I was angry. Several girls behind them let out a pleasant laugh. Chased after Lin Zixuan. Episode 23. With Chu Feng plummeting twice. After counter-killing West Ham United. The media that was originally singing the decline immediately changed. All the newspapers put away their white faces and sang red faces. Gorgeous, unsolvable speed, he's the new Kaka. Prince of Leicester City, Chu Feng once again saved the team. Marseille whirling multiplied by 2, Zizou sideways. Chu Feng opened twice, West Ham United was tragically reversed. 2 rounds, 5 goals alone, the new Merlot. These newspapers cover the 5 major leagues. The eyes of all Europe were once again focused on Chu Feng. Especially some of the big clubs, among which there are already plans to use 160 million yuan of liquidated damages to forcibly take away Chu Feng. While calculating the gains and losses, he also continued to wait and see Chu Feng's state. Summer Kingdom. The day after the race. Although some traditional media newspapers in Xiaogua did not report much of Chu Feng's news. However, various online media are constantly entering Chu Feng's dynamics and reprinting foreign news. Suddenly, the internet was filled with praise for Chu Feng and disgust for the FA Association for almost destroying Chu Feng. Chu Feng is a real cow. The first Premier League scored, the second Premier League scored 2 goals, according to the law. The next game, Chu Feng booked a hat trick in advance. Chu Feng goal highlights, extreme clarity, quick to my homepage to watch, don't forget to like. West Ham United is not a weak brigade, they also defeated Arsenal in the first leg, and were beaten twice by Chu Feng, which people abroad have nothing to say. A genius like Chu Feng was actually banned by the Football Association? If Chu Feng hadn't gone out and broken out, he would have been ruined after a few years in China, and I don't know how many geniuses have been ruined by the FA. Brothers, don't talk about it here, just like me, go to the FA to open the charge. Don't go, I just finished rushing, and the FA Weibo forbids comments. Inside the Summer National Football Association building. The program ape, looking at the insults of netizens on the bow. Angry, he smashed the water cup again. These damn self-media obviously have coldly handled Chu Feng's news. They still broadcast it all over the web. The Premier League is at this level? Even a small child in the Summer League can't beat it. The procedural ape, who did not understand the ball, could not understand Chu Feng's strength. In his opinion, Chu Feng was just an ordinary player who played in the middle league. Originally, I hoped that Chu Feng, like other players who stayed in the West, would play quieter and quieter the more he played abroad, and he would not be able to play in the end. Back to the Summer Kingdom. At that time, he would be able to cure Chu Feng well. But the more Chu Feng played, the better, and the domestic fans scolded the Football Association, the more they scolded. The procedural ape decided that Chu Feng could never play in China, and no matter how well Chu Feng played, the national team was not allowed to sign him. John's Kingdom. As the time draws closer to the 3rd round of the Premier League. The original media praise, the silence of black powder in European football. The wind direction is starting to change again. Black fans have fought back. Worthy of being a fan of megalomania, defeating West Ham United will swell, and see your opponents in the next round. I admit I've looked up to West Ham, and the next round of Tottenham will give you a little bit of color to see. Winning 2 weak teams is great? Going to the European theater? Ask if Spurs say yes or no. If Leicester City can win Tottenham, I will immediately turn black to Chu Feng. The media also reported separately. Leicester City faces Tottenham Hotspur, North London. Tottenham defends the throne. Against Tottenham, Leicester City have their first defeat this season. The Blue Foxes' European dreams are shattered, and Tottenham Hotspur takes Leicester City lightly. The game has not yet begun, and the media has already given the ending. Yeah, that's Tottenham after all, and Chu Feng, they're just Leicester City. Since the restructuring in 1993, it has brought unprecedented changes to the league. Strong capital injection has made the foundation of Haoqiang more and more stable. Small teams have lost their qualification to compete for the championship. Manchester City duo, also Arsenal, Chelsea, wrapped up all the Premier League champions for 12 years. With Tottenham Hotspur in North London, with traditional powerhouse Liverpool. These 6 well-capitalized teams, called Premier League Big Six, they hold the championship qualification every year. Other participating teams even enter the European theater is a luxury. And Leicester City, where Chu Feng is located, Before the end of last season, it was still in a relegation crisis. In this way, it seems that the media is not optimistic, and the fans' singing is very reasonable. But to achieve Chu Feng's goal of entering the European theatre this season, you have to face Big Six head-on. Without the confidence to defeat them, the so-called entry into the European theatre is just an empty phrase. And this time they came. Episode 24. Compared to the European media and fans as a whole, Leicester City is not optimistic. Xiagua fans still have great confidence in Chu Feng. Even if some fans are not optimistic that Chu Feng can win, they are still optimistic about Chu Feng's play. John's Kingdom. The time came to August 22nd. Today, Leicester City will face Tottenham Hotspur, one of the Premier League's Big Six, at the home King's Court. As a Premier League title contending team, Tottenham Hotspur has a deep heritage. Tottenham Hotspur was the first team in the 20th century to become a double champions of the league and the FA Cup. He has won 2 consecutive FA Cups. In 1963, he won the European Cup Winners' Cup. It was the first team in the UK to win the European Championship. Although Tottenham Hotspur won the first 2 rounds of the league. But most fans are still bullish on Tottenham's victory. After all, the last time Leicester City beat Tottenham Hotspur in the face was in 2002. Tottenham have not won 2 consecutive rounds. The first round of the league face away to Manchester United, 1-0, swallowed the bitter fruit. In the second round of the league, home to Stoke City, 2-2, it was finally drawn. This time against Leicester City, they will definitely try their best to win. The lack of optimism in the European media about the game did not affect the confidence of the people of Leicester City in the team. The cover of the latest issue of the local Leicester Crystal newspaper. Proud and senseless city, Leicester City. Expressed Leicester even if facing a team like Tottenham Hotspur. Also fearless. Inside the dressing room at King Power Stadium, Ranieri is explaining tactics to the players. Fiddling with the tactical version, explaining the points that need to be faced. They used a 4-2-3-1 formation, which was a very stealthy and flexible attack formation. Using the pillar point of single striker Harry Kane, he attacked with 3 offensive midfielders behind him. They belong to the all-offensive and all-defensive team, and when they switch between attack and defense, look for their rhythmic intervals to make us the best way to attack. Inside the player channel, Leicester City's players entered one after another, and the players' tunnel waited to enter. Captain Morgan kept clapping his hands with his teammates. When he came to Chu Feng, after the high fives, "I'll leave it to you today," Morgan said to Chu Feng. Ranieri gave the players today's tactics simple. The players received the ball to find Chu Feng. Chu Feng received the ball and the players rushed forward. Domestic Premier League broadcast room. Hello friends from the audience, welcome to the 3rd round of the Premier League this season brought by UEFA Sports. I am Jean June, the commentator of this game. The match was played by Leicester City at home against Tottenham Hotspur. We can see the stadium is full, Leicester City's home fans. Players from both sides have moved into the turf of the Throne Court, and after 2 rounds of Premier League matches, Leicester City are in second place with 2 straight wins with 6 points, while Tottenham Hotspur are in the bottom of the league rankings with a loss and a draw. Although Tottenham Hotspur have a loss and a draw, their record is not good, but their strength is not to be underestimated, and the expedition to Leicester City is also to go all out to win and reverse the decline of the team. Neither side has changed the formation compared to the previous round of the squad. Leicester City still continues to use this 4-2, Spurs still maintain the 4-2-3-1 formation with Harry Kane as the single arrow, and neither side has changed. The broadcast camera also understands everyone, to the most anticipated Xiagua young player Chu Feng. This time he still started, wearing the number 11 jersey. Seeing such a young face, or people can't help but sigh a sentence in the world like Jade, the prince is unparalleled in the world. Let's look forward to Chu Feng's performance today. The captains of both sides touted the direction of the goal by tossing a coin. With referee Martin Atkins' whistle, the game begins. Tottenham Hotspur in a white jersey kicked off. Harry Kane took possession of the ball and passed the ball to Dembele at the rear. Facing Shinji Okazaki, Vardy, and other Leicester City players, they rushed forward. Dembele continued to pass back to Dell in the rear. Conduction through football. Look for Leicester City to press the gap behind and launch an opportunity to attack. Dell in the back flank continued to pass to Ryan Mason. Mason moved forward to midfielder Lamela. Then Lamela, 1 foot long pass. The ball flew towards Shasley, who was already in front of the left side. Leicester City Mahrez pressed forward and then jammed the position before the ball landed. Mahrez cut off the ball and passed it to Shinji Okazaki, who was in the opposing half. After a short confrontation in the opening, Leicester City is not optimistic but active. Tottenham hottest are more cautious. Episode 25. King Power Stadium. The game has been going on for 10 minutes. The score was 0-0. Tottenham Hotspur ball. In the Leicester City frontcourt near the midline, constantly pressed. Spurs are constantly passing football back and forth. Wear away the physical strength of Leicester City's frontcourt players. When Leicester City players approached, they passed to the backcourt. Leicester City is a bit slower than Tottenham Hotspur in terms of the rate of retracement. Don't dare to push too deeply. At Tottenham back player Mason passed back with defenders. Distracted Leicester City's forward court players. Mason split the ball towards Shasley, who was on the left. Shasley controlled the ball and sped up the ball to break through Mahrez. Mahrez reacted quickly and caught up with Shasley just as he was about to get closer. Shasley knocked the ball with his right foot to Harry Kane, who was on his right. Harry Kane did not hesitate. One foot touches the ball. The pass went directly to Lamela, who was in the middle of Leicester City's two defenders. Lamela suddenly picked up speed, directly overtaking Leicester City left-back De La Et. Pushed into the penalty area. Lamela was preparing to adjust her shot. Held by Leicester City centre-back Kaka on the right. Hutter quickly passed the ball back to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper Karpaz drove the ball wide into midfield. Cut off by Tottenham player Mason. Mason was snatched by Shinji Okazaki of Leicester City when he stopped the ball. Mahrez caught up close, and Shasley knocked on Harry Kane next to him, who touched the ball and kicked the ball in front of Lamela. Dangerous. Hutt stuck in his position and ruined Lamela's chances of shooting, but fortunately Hutt was smart and didn't have much physical contact with Lamela and ran straight to his attacking route. From this quick attack, it can be seen that Tottenham's attack is quite decisive and sharp. That's the quality of a Premier League team. The commentator in the stands wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and continued to start the commentary of the game. Shinji Okazaki faced a rush from a Tottenham player and passed the ball to the rear. Pass back and forth with several players in the rear. Leicester City's formation has moved towards the Spurs half as a whole. Rear centre-back Morgan passed to midfielder Drinkwater, who was in the opposing half. Drinkwater passed it to Chu Feng, who was walking on the left side of the road. Faced Chu Feng to take the ball. Tottenham nearby players quickly pasted. Chu Feng after attracting defense. Another cross was given to Vardy, who then split the side to Mahrez. Mahrez quickly lunged in the direction of Tottenham's bottom line. Attracted to Tottenham's defense in the middle. It was then passed back to Shinji Okazaki in the middle road. Shinji Okazaki passed back and forth with a midfielder before passing to an unguarded Vardy. Vardy couldn't shoot directly with his foot raised because he was facing the goal with his back to goal. When the ball did not land, he slammed his heel and bumped to Chu Feng, who was running over. Chu Feng's left foot stopped, and after a quick adjustment, his left foot hit the bottom of the football. A long-range shot from the periphery. Football hangs in the dead corner. Spurs goalkeeper Lowry judged the right direction, jumped high to the right, and stretched his hands as far as he could to the upper right. But Chu Feng's foot shot angle was too sharp, too strong. Lowry didn't pounce, fell high, rolled to the ground and rolled a few laps, accepting the result of the city gate being broken. Chu Feng quickly ran to the side of the field. Awe-inspiring wind crossed the handsome face. The wet bangs also shook with the running. Chu Feng ran to the sideline and turned to spread his hands to his teammates who were running. Hugged with the teammates who ran. Chu Feng looked at Baldi, who was slowly running. Crazy pointing at him. I want to tell the fans that it's him. It was his assist. Don't forget his contribution. When the ball flies into the frame. Rumble. The whole King Power Stadium was boiling. The whole pitch was shaking. It's like an earthquake. The blue ocean is churning. The shouts of the fans reverberated throughout the King Power Stadium. Chu Feng! Chu Feng! Chu Feng! More than 30,000 people shouted Chu Feng's name. Although Leicester City fans originally believed Chu Feng. Believe their prince. I believe that Chu Feng will bring them victory. But in the face of Tottenham, there are still some worries. But the moment the Tottenham goal was breached, all the worries were shattered by Chu Feng's shot. Only the joy of victory remains. On the pitch, Leicester City's players ended the celebration. Back to his seat. When the game continued, the Tottenham players had already kicked off. Leicester City fans at the King Power Stadium were still chanting Chu Feng's voice. The fans' flags are still waving. The fans seem to want to show the Tottenham players what a proud and senseless city Leicester is. Episode 26. Summer Kingdom. A Premier League broadcast room. Chu Feng received a pass from Baldi and adjusted his shot. This ball has it. The ball is in. Chu Feng. World wave. Leicester City doesn't attack much, and every time it's a killer. Leicester City opened with the first shot in the opening 12 minutes. It was also the only one-foot shot on goal. The hero of the goal is Chu Feng. It's Chu Feng again, the Blue Fox fairy tale, the Blue Fox Prince. Leicester City lead 1-0 at home. Leicester City's back and forth passing created holes in the defense. The defensive players couldn't keep up, and they didn't expect Chu Feng to hit the door directly after taking the ball. After Jean Jun was excited, he began to analyze it. The bullet screen of the fans in the live broadcast room of the domestic Premier League is full of screens. Lying grass. Chu Feng is awesome. Lying grass. Chu Feng world wave? There is no doubt that Chu Feng's current performance is definitely the performance of a football superstar. I cried, our summer country finally appeared a football superstar. Although I have always felt that Leicester City will not lose, I did not expect Chu Feng to score so early. Chu Feng is so handsome. I want to fall in love with him. As long as it is a football fan in Xiagua, there is no one who is not excited. King Power Stadium. Sidelines. Leicester City coach Ranieri was very excited when Chu Feng fired a long-range shot that sent the ball into the goal. Ranieri jumped up from his chair. Crazy celebrations. The assistant coach next to him also rushed to the sidelines. Embraced with Ranieri. This goal. Too important for Leicester City. Let Ranieri take a reassuring pill. As long as it can be kept, it will make Tottenham hate. He believes in this home field advantage. Even if there is no clean sheet Tottenham to win. Still able to keep Spurs a point. Spurs coach Pochettino on the other side. Rushing to the sideline and opening his hands, he wanted to blame the defenders for not keeping an eye on Chu Feng. But he reacted quickly. Chu Feng's startup speed. Wait for the team to react. Chu Feng had already raised his foot to shoot. He directs the players. Pressure hands down. Then he pointed to the watch in his hand. Expressing calmness, we still have time. Although premature loss of points. To no need to panic. After all, they are Tottenham Hotspur. It's the prowess of the Premier League. Match time. Come in 40 minutes. Leicester City after taking the lead. Formation retracement. Show the appearance of sticking to the city gate. At this time, Tottenham midfielder Dembele, after the entanglement of Leicester City defenders, dribble straight into the bottom line. A cross was fired to find Harry Kane, who had already rushed into the Leicester City penalty area. Leicester City's defender Hutter was preparing to block Dembele's route into the penalty area. Put your arms away. Block the ball directly out of the bottom line. Beep. Tonight's referee Martin Atkinson. No hesitation. Pointing directly to the 12-yard line. The Leicester City players all rushed to the referee. Surround yourself with the referee. Hopefully put some pressure on the manager. Constantly confessing, Hutt kept expressing his innocence. Martin Atkinson, shaking his head, indicated that he was sure of the penalty. No cancellation will be made. Spurs centre forward Harry Kane walked slowly towards the penalty spot. The Leicester City players, the Tottenham players, all surrounded Harry Kane's perimeter. Leicester City were freed from free throws for Harry Kane. The Spurs players shot for Harry Kane after failing to serve. Standing on the free throw spot, Harry Kane took a deep breath. Run, knock on the door. Overnight. This foot strength is perfect for speed. Leicester City goalkeeper Karpas has made a good judgment on the direction. But the ball speed is too fast. Karpas is not up to par. You can only watch the football enter the net. Rely on Harry Kane's penalty. Tottenham Hotspur equalized. The score is here. 1-1. Tottenham players all went to the corner to hug Harry Kane. Celebrate the goal. Many players on the Leicester side are frustrated. Defended the lead for most of the field and was equalized. The momentum of the iron-blooded defense suddenly leaked. The game came in 70 minutes. Spurs attack from the middle. Tottenham Hotspur frontcourt player. Keep coming back and forth. Split edges. Cross and then split the sides. Keep pulling at the Leicester City's defenses. When Leicester City players came forward to fight hard, Just pass the football back to the home half. Again through continuous conduction. Infiltrate the football into Leicester City's defense. Until the opportunity arises. Shasley received the ball in the Leicester City penalty area. Prepare to shoot with your feet, the angle is blocked. Choose a pass and pass it to Lamela near the bottom line of the penalty area. After Lamela received the ball, she passed the ball directly to the middle. Harry Kane, rushing from behind a player in the middle of the Leicester City penalty area. Poke the football. The ball is in. Harry Kane scored twice. Tottenham Hotspur countered the score. Time is running out for Leicester City. Episode 27. Just enough time, Chu Feng's hat trick. As Harry Kane countered the scoreline. On the foreign network, some of Chu Feng's black powder began to look up again. Chu Feng knows what Hao-Chiang is now, right? Strong is not to be defeated by the score, will fight to the end, until the score is reversed. There are still less than 20 minutes to go, there is not much time left for Leicester City, and there is not much time left for Chu Feng. Chu Feng will only follow his teammates as a turtle, and your turtle shell will be broken. At the King's Court, Leicester City's rear ball far away was very self-condemning. 2 consecutive goals conceded, both have to do with them. The other players, who had the momentum they had because of the lead, also lost with the opponent's 2 goals. Chu Feng looked at his frustrated teammates. Clap your hands. Fight for your teammates. There's still time, there's still a chance, attack out. We'll definitely overtake, yes. Anti-overtaking. Believe me. Chu Feng was obviously just a teenager. It was as if he had become the leader of Leicester City. With the encouragement of the leader, Leicester City regrouped. The game comes with 87 minutes. On the pitch, Chu Feng received a pass from midfielder Derek Watt. Harry Kane and Dembele pressed towards Chu Feng. Chu Feng received the ball and passed it back to Dresswater. Harry Kane Dembele, a group of players who originally surrounded Chu Feng. Attracted by the football, the body's center of gravity shifts to the direction of the football. The moment Chu Feng returned again, acceleration had been activated to accelerate towards the gates of Tottenham in the direction of attack. The moment Dresswater received the ball, directly the big foot drove towards the front of Chu Feng. Originally, Chu Feng was far away from the landing point. But when the football fell, it was already in front of me. Chu Feng did not slow down, following the inertia of the football forward. Continue striding the ball. Wait until the players in the Tottenham front of the court react. Adjust the center of gravity when catching up. Chu Feng has already dribbled the ball to the outside of the Tottenham hotspot. Tottenham defenders Alderweireld and Kyle surrounded Chu Feng in the penalty area. He wanted to block Chu Feng's shooting route. Chu Feng took the ball and cut inward to the right. Saw the angle of the shot. Shoot directly inside the instep. The ball bypassed the defender in front of him. Spurs goalkeeper Lowry was blocked from view by his teammates. Couldn't save. Football hits the net. Leicester home City equalized. The score came to 2-2. Chu Feng rushed to the corner area. With your back to the fans, facing your teammates. Hands crossed at the waist. Greeted by a hug from his teammates. The fans looked at Chu Feng's back. The CHUF printed on the back. It was as if Chu Feng was telling them that I was here. Victory is not far away. The fans at King Power Stadium were shouting at one point. Once again, the entire stadium was flooded. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. This time Chu Feng's celebration did not take long. He picked up the ball and ran towards the center circle. Draw? It's not enough. Today, Chu Feng only wanted to win. The game went into injury time. 4 minutes of stoppage time. Tottenham's players were already in sight. To be flattened by Leicester City in 89 minutes. At this time, the morale of Leicester City players was high. Tottenham's player morale began to decline. Look at Leicester City with a rising morale. They vaguely began to think that a draw was not unacceptable. When Tottenham had the ball in possession, pass it on to each other, and don't dare to push forward. The Leicester City players began to rush like crazy. There are 50 seconds left until the end of the game. Leicester City players are already on the outskirts of the Tottenham hotspot, launching a siege. This melee around the forbidden zone. Chu Feng's speed advantage was no longer obvious. Chu Feng stayed in the forbidden area and looked for opportunities. Leicester City defenders received the ball on the edge of the Tottenham penalty area. 1 foot hanging pass. But too much force has flown out of the bottom line. If the football flies out of the bottom line, it becomes a goal. Then the game can also be declared over. When everyone in the stadium decided to end this wonderful game with a draw, Chu Feng rushed to the football. The right foot is supported and the left foot is raised high. He's going to get football back. Tottenham defender Ben Davis watched Chu Feng rush towards the football. He also rushed over, lifting his feet to reach for the football. Chu Feng touched the ball, and Davis touched Chu Feng's ankle. Chu Feng fell to the ground in pain, holding his ankles with both hands. Leicester City fans shouted angrily. Put pressure on the referee. A familiar whistle sounded. Once again, the referee pointed to the penalty spot and showed Davis a yellow card. Less than 10 seconds before the end of the game, the referee blew the penalty. The Tottenham players couldn't take it and surrounded the referee, putting pressure and seeking explanations. The referee once again showed a yellow card to the Tottenham players. Chu Feng walked towards the penalty spot. It was his first penalty. Take a deep breath. Run up. Tempo transformation. Shot. The Spurs goalkeeper misjudged the direction. The ball was scored. Just enough time. Chu Feng kills Tottenham Hotspur. Chu Feng hat-trick. Episode 28. King Power Stadium. The cheers of Leicester City fans for the equalizer had not been extinguished. Immediately there was even greater cheering. The whole stadium shook. Blue flags waved. Their hero, their Prince Chu Feng, once again saved the team. Once again, it brings victory to the team. Chu Feng scored after a penalty. The referee blew the end of the game. Chu Feng and his teammates were able to rush to the sidelines. Shouted at the home fans who had been shouting for the entire game. Bow and say thank you. Then, amid the applause of the fans, he walked towards the dressing room. Summer Kingdom. Lying grass. Hat-trick. Summer players hat-trick in the 5 major leagues. It's Chu Feng again, a talented player in the Summer Kingdom and a hero of Leicester City, who killed Tottenham Hotspur with a hat-trick. In the broadcast room, Jean Jun, as a professional commentator, can also burst out of the foul language. Domestic fans watching Chu Feng's live broadcast can't find words to describe their current mood. Only left. It's a hat-trick. Chu Feng Bull. Chu Feng Shuai. Chu Feng 666. Swipes the entire screen. Even the fans who originally looked down on Chu Feng and looked down on Chu Feng abroad also had some expressions. Probably, I mean maybe, Chu Feng is really pretty good. Lying grass, can't believe to be hat-tricked by a yellow man. I was originally Chu Feng's face value powder, and I am still a technology fan. Although not much. But because of the collective silence of the black powder, it is also particularly conspicuous. Dressing room after the game. Chu Feng received the competition reward in the locker room again. System achievement, 5 major leagues complete a hat-trick. Completed. Achievement bonus, stamina potion 2, if you still want to kick, drink a bottle. System series quest, swinging a powerful fist, 1/6. Mission rewards, choose a player who has served in the Premier League. System mission, swing the first punch at Haoqiong. Mission objective, defeat any one of the Premier League Big 6s. Task completed. System bonus, strong physique 1, slightly reduced chance of injury. Win the Premier League game. Rating, 10 points. Contest prize, 400,000 euros. It's a perfect game again. Series of tasks? Want to beat the top 6 in the Premier League? Any one of the star skills? What about choosing the one? Aside from Beckham's full moon curve knife? What else? Strong fit 1? Strong physique 2? Slightly reduced chance of injury? Where to look at it slightly heavier? Ended a man's self-talk. Chu Feng walked out of the king's court. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. Look here. A crisp sound. Chu Feng was stunned after hearing this. Why would anyone call me in Mandarin? He looked back. Several summer girls stood to the side waving their hands. At a glance, he saw Lindsay Xuan, a black and soft shawl with long hair, bright eyes and teeth, and a May-pink dye, which made people shine. Chu Feng walked towards them. Chu Feng, we are Xiaoguoren, we watched your game today, although I can't understand it, but I feel that you are really good, can you take a picture with us? You don't know how hot you are in the country right now. Among them, the girls expressed themselves quickly. It seemed that he was afraid that Chu Feng would not have the patience to listen and leave. In the distant Zhang country, Chu Feng was also very happy to meet his compatriots, so he agreed. After taking the photo, another girl pushed out Lindsay Xuan and said she wanted to take a picture with you alone, and her name was Lindsay Xuan. Lindsay Xuan had just stood firm, and in a panic, her face suddenly turned white and turned red in an instant. Quite interesting. Chu Feng said hello. Hello, Lindsay Xuan. Lindsay Xuan returned. Huh? Oh, hello, Chu Feng. Both sides finished taking photos. Chu Feng turned and prepared to leave. Lindsay Xuan blushed and plucked up the courage to ask. Chu Feng, can you know your way signal? Chu Feng turned back. Yes, but I rarely look at Vision. Then Lindsay Xuan added Chu Feng's way xin. Chu Feng beat Tottenham this time. And it's a hat-trick approach. Chu Feng's performance completely conquered all European clubs. They suddenly realized that Chu Feng was no longer just a genius. The strength displayed by Chu Feng had completely counted the performance of a superstar. They had already begun to express their interest in Chu Feng to Leicester City. Start testing Leicester City's bottom line. Hope to take Chu Feng away as soon as possible. But none of this had anything to do with Chu Feng. He thought about how to continue to punch the Premier League giants. Episode 29. Shine in Europe. The whole country is boiling. The game is over. The news of Leicester City's victory over Tottenham Hotspur that night made headlines. Prince of Leicester City, Chu Feng reads the second to beat Tottenham Hotspur. The genius Chu Feng of the summer country, one person raised the football level of the entire summer country. Football superstar, Chu Feng hat trick, Shine King Power Stadium. Fight until the last second. Chu Feng read the seconds to get a penalty. Chu Feng once again became the center of the whole of Europe. Meanwhile, Chu Feng's wonderful collection of matches against Tottenham Hotspur appeared on the popular short video of Xiaogua network. It was still in the early hours of the morning in the summer country. The news of Chu Feng's hat trick quickly sprang up on the hot search. For a time, the country was sensational. Below the video, the number of likes and comments is beating wildly. I wouldn't have believed if we had players who were core players in the Premier League, and now you say he's done a hat trick in the Premier League? Then I will definitely dream again. Chu Feng's performance is absolutely world-class, the first person under the absolute double arrogance. As long as Chu Feng continues to play abroad, he will definitely become the dominant force in football that breaks the absolute double arrogance. Rest assured, Chu Feng can't come back if he wants to. The Football Association has lifted Chu Feng's punishment on the surface, and secretly has banned him. Do you see that the mainstream domestic football media has reported Chu Feng's news in detail? Chu Feng's experience I have only seen in novels. Chu Feng, I want to have monkeys with you. Summer country fans who did not watch the game. People who don't watch football. I found that the network was full of Chu Feng's news. Various titles with Chu Feng appeared on the internet. Summer country player, Chu Feng, completed a hat trick in the English Blue Football Super League. Chu Feng faces the Premier League, the world wave shines on the King's Court. Summer country player Chu Feng, after the explosion of the network, China's female fans have grown in a straight line. Gathering after the game, watch Chu Feng's 3 golden goals. People who have never paid attention to football before, or have not paid attention to it for a long time, are also attracted by Chu Feng's appearance, clicking on videos and news. Is Premier League football great? Is the Chinese Super League strong, or the Premier League strong? Crouching grass, he is so handsome when he plays football. Coach, I want to play football. When did the national football team appear this genius? I just want to ask when to enter the Time Cup. Little brother Chu Feng, really handsome. Even the photo of Lindsay Xuan and her classmates and Chu Feng was reprinted online. The reviews are all there. The real name system is envious, Chu Feng is handsome. Moo moo moo. Ask Chu Feng to sign the jersey, you can pay first. Little sister is so pretty, can you leave a contact information? For a time, Chu Feng became the top stream in China. And then because of that, the fact that Chu Feng was shaded by the Football Association was turned over again. Take it for granted. The FA was blown up again. Summer National Football Association headquarters building. The procedural ape smashed the first few cups that did not know because of Chu Feng. These people really make sense of this. As soon as Chu Feng's news appeared, it began to impact the website of the Football Association. So it goes on? But because Chu Feng played in the Premier League. In order for Chu Feng to stay in Yang, the original club had long cancelled its player contract with Chu Feng. Procedural apes are also beyond the reach of the whip. Now I don't dare to black Chu Feng. Only the subordinate could be asked to coldly handle Chu Feng's message. Zhonghua, who was busy negotiating his players' contracts with Wolves, finally ended the contract negotiations. After receiving Chu Feng's performance against Tottenham Hotspur, decided to go to Leicester and chat with Chu Feng in person. Chu Feng, who was training in Leicester, received an invitation to dinner from Jorge Mendes. Chu Feng recalled the information he had seen about Jorge Mendes. Jorge Mendes, one of the best brokers in the world. He excavated many geniuses. Nothing is more famous than that. Cristiano Ronaldo. He has also run transfers that shocked football. As a football agent, he also worked as a footballer, although his football talent was not high. But very business-minded. Compared to Mino Raiola, who is notorious in the eyes of the club, Jorge has a good reputation in the mouth of the club. He has been called a sentient and righteous human trafficker. Jorge Mendes is not the kind of agent who sells a player and then stops caring. His primary concern is not the commission, but the balance between the players, the agent and the two clubs. That's why it has a good reputation. If Chu Feng was not willing to get into trouble with Leicester City, Mendes would be a great option for him looking for an agent. Episode 30. City of Leicester. That night, Chu Feng came to a private room in a high-end restaurant in Leicester. Invitation to Jorge Mendes. Chu Feng followed the guidance of the waiter and found the private room. Opening the door, I was greeted by a middle-aged man in a suit and leather shoes. Hello, Mendes. Hello, Chu Feng, it's a pleasure to meet you. Chu Feng and Mendes finished greeting each other and sat down. Jorge Mendes, without an assistant. Ensure the privacy of communication with Chu Feng. Jorge Mendes, through an AIDS investigation. When Chu Feng was found to have no broker in the European region, he was very excited but couldn't leave because of the delay in the Wolves contract. Now it's finally over. Mendes couldn't wait to invite Chu Feng to meet. Meet Chu Feng, a gold mine that has not yet been excavated. After a moment of greeting, Chu Feng knowingly asked, Mr. Mendes, do you have anything to do with me? Haha, Chu Feng, don't worry, I'm here to create benefits for you, I just want to help you plan your playing career and your influence in Europe. Jorge Mendes said with a smile. Then began his long talk. Do you know Marcelo, Pepe, Di Maria? You surely know Cristiano Ronaldo. They are all my players. They had a great time working with me. I was also very happy with the club I introduced. I'm quite professional on transfers and I've run a lot of compelling transfers. I have connected Porto and Chelsea, bringing Munirio to Chelsea with a number of players. With the highest price in history at that time, Cristiano Ronaldo moved to Real Madrid and caused a sensation across Europe. I also managed to sign Real Madrid into James Rodriguez, who shined at the World Cup in Brazil. I have a good relationship with most of the clubs in Europe. Wherever you want to go in the future, I can help you build a bridge. Chu Feng heard this and interrupted, now, I can go to any club I want. Jorge Mendes was stunned when he heard it. Oh, yes. With the talent that Chu Feng showed now. Shown strength. No big family would reject him. Although he is still only such a small team in Leicester City. Jorge Mendes, embarrassed, picked up the glass and took a sip of water. Shift the conversation from clubs to business. I see, you don't have any commercial contracts right now, and that's because others can't find your broker. You can't imagine the commercial value behind you, and I'm going to build a business empire for you. You are a Shagwa person, and behind the Shagwa is a huge consumption empire with more than 1 billion people, and the consumption power of this empire is still increasing. The business empire I have created for you, his territory will be from Asia, across the United States and Europe. Your business value will be far behind Ronaldo and Messi. Chu Feng, as a great player, you should have a great professional agent. And I'm Jorge Mendes, will be your best choice. The whole private room finally fell silent. Jorge Mendes waited for Chu Feng's answer. Chu Feng did not answer and continued to look at Jorge Mendes. Chu Feng knew that Jorge Mendes is one of the best brokers in the world. But Chu Feng believes that he is also one of the best players in the world. I don't want to let go easily because of a few words. Jorge Mendes looked at Chu Feng without any expression. He continued. Chu Feng, I really hope to cooperate with you. I will personally follow up all your business negotiations, and all the dialogues with the club will also be conducted by me to help you win the greatest benefit. I'll help you create a strong PR team, I'll take your name from the world of football to the world, and whether it's a fan or not, I'll know you. Let you not only be a football superstar, but also a world superstar. I can guarantee that your position in my place will not be weaker than that of Cristiano Ronaldo, And I am sure that your future achievements will not be weaker than his. Chu Feng also felt Jorge at this time. Mendes' sincerity. I believe that he will wholeheartedly plan his future for himself. Face Jorge. Mendes' request. Chu Feng finally let go. What kind of contract will you give me? Is it the same as other players? How could it be? I'll look up to the superstar with your contract. Jorge. Mendes hastily replied. I take 3% of your player contract transfer amount. I only need 2% of your business income in advertising, business, etc. Borge's request for himself gave Chu Feng the greatest sincerity.